Okay, we are recording and live streaming when you are ready, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'd like to call the Human Resources and Public Works Committee to order. Take a look at the agenda. Would you like to add anything? Or
Nope. All set. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as set.
support? It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye. The motion carries. We have an agenda, and the first item is call to the public. Do we have any public?
There is no one at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thanks. Then our first item is consider approving the agreement for extension services between Michigan State University and Isabella County for fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $171,779 and authorize the board chair to sign the same. Okay, Eric, yeah, come on up.
You're welcome to say here, there, wherever.
I don't bite.
We have enough for euchre now, so.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's pretty much the standard MOA. I know in May, I believe it was, I was here and it's the same numbers that was more the worksheet conversation that we had. But we did, as I shared at that time, and been in pretty good communication, I think, with the administrator and most of the commissioners too, about that we kind of negotiated within the university to keep the contract and the dollar amount the exact same as last year.
Great.
Just given the financial situations that we're all pretty aware of. So this is just a formalized language for that. So I don't know if there are any questions related to.
No, good program. We like the way you support the county. All good.
Yeah, definitely appreciate the efforts too on the village and all that stuff. It was really helpful and creative. So, yeah, I have no problems with this at all. I'm glad that we're part of you and you're part of us.
And full funding is built into the fiscal year 25 recommended budget and the proposed budget that came out of the last board meeting.
Okay. So could I get a motion on that?
Yep, consider approving the agreement for extension services between Michigan State University and Isabella County for fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $171,779 and authorize board chair to sign this.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 4 to the work and regular sessions of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Item 4 will be forwarded to next week's meetings. Thanks.
Easy peasy.
And I will show up to them. So you don't have to use that unless you want to. You did a great job last
That's
year.
awesome. No, it's a great process.
All right, hey, thank you.
It's always an option
Oh,
if you
no.
need to.
I'll be
Okay,
here.
that's
There's
always.
for everybody on that.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is consider approving the intergovernmental agreement between Isabella County and the city of Mount Pleasant for building inspection services and authorize the board chair to sign the same. We have Tim.
Since Commissioner Hutchinson said he doesn't bite, I'll sit over next to him. Good morning.
I said I wouldn't bite him.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a kidding.
Yeah, so the building inspection services request with City of Mount Pleasant. So we've been doing these services with several townships. We do it with several townships in Clare. We do it with City of Mount Pleasant. We have several agreements. I don't know the number, but there's several agreements that we have out there. The City of Mount Pleasant, we started in about 2012 with them. We carried through about 2017. We renewed the contract in 2017, and then it expired in 22, I believe. The city never approached us on it. We kind of had a little bit of an overlap there. I finally sent them over a contract about 9 months ago. They were looking at it all this time. They sent us a request 2 weeks ago for services. And I said, sorry, we don't have a contract in place. And suddenly I got a contract back over. So I think they were doing some things over there with regard to their building department a little bit. And we're curious on what they were going to do and where, but here they are. They've sent us back the agreement signed already. It's the identical agreement to the previous one with the exception of 2 areas. One of them is the fee that we charge. We charge them a lesser fee in previous contracts. because it was a city of Mount Pleasant, really tight and close here. But as our costs have gone up over the past few years, we've moved them into a consistent charge for fee, which went from, I think, $35 to $55 per inspection, and then from $40 to $50 on the hourly side. So we're covering our costs in doing that. The other area that we modified and changed was, which we have this on all of our contracts now, I believe all of them are this way now, is the terms of agreement term. In the past, we've done them for like 2 and 3 years, and then we would just continue to come back to the board and renew a contract. This one took the time frame out, but has the agreement continues unless terminated under paragraphs 3 or 15. Both paragraph 15 is the termination agreement. So if they send us a letter or we send them a letter that we want to stop, that's when this agreement terminates. Or under Article 3 or paragraph 3, which is entitled qualifications of the county. So if we fall out of our qualifications, if we don't have an inspector to be able to do it, then obviously this contract would terminate. So if we didn't have the person, or if they asked us to terminate, or we asked them to terminate, that's the terms of agreement. So this thing will kind of continue on. It can be modified. We know costs will continue to increase. You're not going to go down. There is clause in here that allows us to, by agreement of both parties, written agreement to modify the agreement under number 13. So we've kind of covered our bases all the way through. This is very similar to all the contracts I know we have in Clark County are like this, which is why I moved this one to it. So we don't have to worry about this expiration date and have to get a new contract put in place.
Yeah,
We're just
kind
going
of
to provide
streamlining
service.
of it.
Yeah, we're providing services as long as we can provide service.
Did Attorney Perone write this or review?
He wrote
At
this,
some
he did
point,
not, he did not review this one because it's identical to the previous,
Except for the fee.
except for the fee. Yes, he has.
He
Yeah.
wouldn't
Yep,
spend the taxpayer
That's
dollars
right.
to do it, perfect.
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Any questions?
And we look at this once a year. I mean,
What's that?
we look at this once a year.
No, what this is this contract would be in place in perpetuity until we disagree on the terms. We don't really do a lot of work for the city of Mount
Mhm.
Pleasant. I think we've generated in the past, maybe $1,500 a year. There's just not a lot of work there. We're covering their guy when he goes on vacation. We're covering their guy when he's off at training or
Got it.
sick or something like that. So it's more of a, helping hand sort of a
Collaboration.
contract. Yes, exactly. Build relationships.
Okay. Could I get a motion on that, please?
Yep, let's consider approving the intergovernmental agreement between Isabel County and the city of Mount Pleasant for building inspection services and authorize board chair to sign the same.
Support, Smith. Moved and supported to move item 5 to the regular and work session next week of the county commission. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Ayes carry. Item 5 will be forwarded to next week's county commission meetings. Okay, our next item is consider authorizing the Director of Community Development to sign all future requests for annual delegation school plan review and inspection authority on behalf of the Isabella County Building Inspections Enforcement Agency effective immediately.
Yeah, so this comes from, I don't know if you recall back last October, I came to you with a request. It's the last request that I brought to the board. We've had several requests over the years. So how this works is the state of Michigan has asserted and maintained the authority under the Construction of School Buildings Act. It basically says the state shall, provide that service unless a local unit of government and the school district agree to do that on a local basis.
Do very many entities have the state do it?
No, some of them do. Yeah, some of them do. I don't want to say not very many. There's a list on the other side that shows all those that have been delegated. And there's quite a list of delegates. I didn't bring it with me, but there's quite a list of those that have been delegated for the year. So we have done this several times over my career with different jurisdictions. Beale City came to us. It's usually when they have because it's an annual basis. This has to be filed annually. with the state of Michigan. So usually the school district comes to us when they know they have a building project, and they come to us and then they want to get going on it. And unfortunately, we get into this delay where I have to come to the board committee, the board to get signature. They get their superintendent to sign and they're ready to go. Their construction project is sitting, and then we have to send it down to the state for them to play with it for, 3 or 4 weeks and then send us a letter back to say, okay. So the form in the agreement is between the school district and the county, basically saying, and I have attached a copy there. Basically, it says we can perform the work. They've asked us to do the work, and we'll do the work. That's simply all it says. We remove that authority of the state of Michigan and bring it back to us. Everything except for fire safety. Fire safety always stays with the state of Michigan. We still have some fire safety within the building code they have to follow, but the state's fire safety people, they still have to be permitted through. So Shepherd is currently in that situation. Mount Pleasant is talking to us about some of their buildings, about going into this for next year. And as we were reviewing the form to expedite this process, it doesn't require board approval or board signature necessarily. It does require that the board authorize someone to be that signer. So today, basically, I'm coming in front of you asking for you or for the board to consider naming the community development director position so that it's not an individual. And when I leave here, it can carry on in perpetuity. Is have that position be the person who's going to sign these. So if the school district comes to us last week, like they did, they sent me a signed agreement already, I could have signed this thing and had it off in the mail and going. I've never brought a recommendation to the board not to do this. I've never turned a school district this way and said, I'm not taking this to the board. We don't have the time. If we don't have the time to do it, or we don't have the personnel to do it, or we don't have the capability of doing it, it's never going to get signed. Like we can't do it. We're just not going to be able to take it on. It is important, though, to note that, all that money comes back here and stays with us locally. So we like it. It helps out our building inspections fund. It keeps a local inspection. School districts like it because they get their inspection, pretty readily, 24 hours usually from us, instead of, once every 7 to 10 days or so, or 2 weeks, that the state does it. So this is a request just simply asking for you to duly authorize the community development director position to sign all of these in the future.
Sounds good to me.
Makes sense, makes sense.
More efficient and smooth, making things smoother, I'd say.
It saves us 2 to 3 weeks. It really does save us that. And we're right now, Shepherd's expires at the end of September on the 30th. And they've got projects that are currently going. So they can't apply for any permit to us on October 1 unless we have one of these in place. Took the state last time. I think the board, I don't know if I do have it, but I do. But I don't think it says the date. The board approval date was, I only copied the page and the board made the motion on it. I believe it was in October. And we didn't receive the letter back and authorization from the state for approval until November 17th. So it took them about somewhere between 4 and 6 weeks to get that back. And we're about 4 to 6 weeks right now away from that October 1, date. So I want to try to do this so that we can get it in and move it forward.
Great, I like that.
It's never been a contentious thing, right?
Mhm.
Easy I think it's a great solution. Or the authority.
Okay, let's consider authorizing the Director of Community Development to sign future requests for annual delegation, school plan review, and inspection authority on behalf of the Isabel County Building Inspection Enforcing Agency, effective immediately.
Support. It's been moved and supported to move item 6 to the work and regular session of the county commission next week. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes opposed. The ayes carry. Item 6 will be forwarded to next week's Columbia Commission meeting.
Thank you very much, and I apologize for the lengthiness of that. The title to that form that's got to be signed is about this long, so
Wow.
that's why reads so lengthy and funny, because it's a very long title to a form, so I apologize for the lengthiness. But thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, do we have any announcements? No? That being the case, I'll call to the public. Any public at this time?
There is no one at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, that being the case, I'll call the the Human Resources and Public Works Committee to. I think it's supposed to rain all day or